And with her thick New York accent, she's like, listen, I've had these so many times. If I walk you through it, will you do it? I closed the door and I said, let's go.
Leadership is everywhere. In our work, in our family, in our community. We see leaders by their actions. We know their legacy. This podcast is about leaders, people just like you, doing amazing things every day. I hope these stories inspire you, they motivate you, and they fuel your leadership legacy. My name is Vicki Guy. Welcome to Ignite. Hi, and welcome to Ignite. Today, our guests share how they knocked down opportunity's door through their fierce collaboration to build a company that now has over 100 franchises across the U.S. Collaboration can be such a powerful skill for any leader. Being able to work with others can inspire innovation. It can also encourage engagement from your team. According to Gallup's meta-analysis, businesses with high employee engagement showed a 21% higher levels of profitability. Waxing the City franchise is a great example of employees who are committed to the company beyond their paycheck. Our guests today and the founders of the waxing service, Vasilas and Alex Arlotta, emphasize the importance of collaborating to grow a business with employees who will further the company's mission. Stay tuned after this break to hear firsthand from Summer and Alex.
How do IT pros stay up to date? With the IT Pro TV webinar series, of course. Twice per month, IT Pro TV presents a webinar available at no charge.
And we get started with today's topic. That's right, exploring the dark web with Don Pizzette. Don, how are we doing today, sir?
My name is Vaughn Smith, and today we are going to be presenting ITIL 4 Foundation exam tips and preparations.
We get started with today's topic, the undead of IT, supporting legacy systems. Help me in welcoming to the stage, Mr. Adam Gordon. Adam, how are we doing today, sir?
Hold on one second. I got to get started here. Can you talk to
Yeah, I
them
can
while
talk to us.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
You can catch IT Pro TV webinars live or on demand at your convenience. See them all. Visit www.itpro.tv/webinars.
Welcome back to Ignite. Today we are joined with two women who have worked together for a very long time, Alex and Summer. They are the co-founders and the directors of training and education for Waxing the City. Summer, Alex, welcome to Ignite. How you doing?
We're great. Thank you for having us.
Yes, hi, thank you.
Absolutely. It's such a great thrill to be able to talk to not just one person, but two people that have a great story and have some really interesting parts of their journey to share together in terms of their leadership journey. So tell us a little bit about your roles with Waxing the City. What does that entail?
Go ahead.
So as far as my role, I think I focus a lot on services and product innovation, how services roll out in the room, what they look like, how that affects our technician, and just kind of how the team will incorporate a new service or product.
And I focus on the serologist training. So it's the technical training and how to wax and how to provide that service in the room with all things waxing.
And the two of you have been in the waxing industry for a long time. Not always in the current roles that you play today and that you operate and live in today, but you had a little bit of a different journey. And I'd love to hear a little bit about not only how individually both of you got into the waxing business, but how you came together as a team to be so successful.
Sure.
Well, that's one of the things that a lot of people ask us, like, how did you two meet? We both started in the industry, had been in the industry for a few years before we met, but we worked at a full service day spa for 4 years together. And when we met, the industry looked a lot different than what it looks like today. But we both started off as estheticians. And there wasn't a lot of training involved in our industry, and waxing was part of our license. And I remember for myself, my training was I got hired on at this salon, and I sat and I watched and observed another technician in a room for 2 weeks. And being in a soft, dim room that's warm with steam was a little torturous for for 2 weeks, just standing there trying to stay awake and watching these techniques. There wasn't any hands-on techniques taught. So really it was on the job learning, like you just go. And so when Alex and I met, we really formed a great relationship and collaborated and had to teach each other what we knew. And really back then, that was not the norm in the industry. Most people were in their silo. They didn't want to share their knowledge. They wanted to be the best, and they wanted to keep their clientele for them and not share. And we had a totally different approach that really has come through in our services today, and just the culture of waxing the city today.
I think for me, when Summer and I met, I think I knew instantly we had a different relationship than I had with anybody else in the studio or in the salon. We call them studios now, but in the salon back then. And it was this kind of instant
gratification.
Yeah, like we gravitated. That's what I was trying to say. We gravitated towards each other. And that was because we both had this passion. We had a passion for what we did. And it wasn't just for the waxing or the facial services that we were providing, but it really was for taking care of the client and giving them this experience that was much more than just a lip wax. And so her and I really collaborated. We worked together, and like I said, it was different than anything I had ever experienced with, any of my other coworkers.
I'm remembering a story, my very first Brazilian wax that I performed. And again, this is back in the early 2000s, and that service did not really exist, except for in one spa in New York at the J Sisters. And I had read about the J Sisters in this Brazilian wax in Glamour magazine or somewhere. And we worked in this, it was a high-end salon in downtown Denver where we met. And we had a lot of clients who were business travelers traveling in and out. So this woman had called the salon and said, "Hey, do you guys do Brazilian waxes?" And the receptionist at the time knew that Alex and I focused primarily on waxing in the studio. So she's like, "Yeah, someone provides that service." And so this client comes in, and I confirmed the service in the room. And I said, "So I'd be down for a bikini wax," because the Brazilian service didn't even exist in our POS system. And she said, "Actually, I booked a Brazilian and they said that you do that service." I said, "Well, full transparency, I know what service you're wanting, but I have never provided that service. I've never learned it." And with her thick New York accent, she's like, "Listen, I've had these so many times. If I walk you through it, will you do it?" I closed the door and I said, "Let's go." So
oh my goodness.
The rest I black out from there, but what I do know is that I finished that service and I went to Alex. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just performed a Brazilian bikini wax," because there was no training that you could get anywhere. And so I'm sure it was not her best wax ever. It was probably her worst, and probably very memorable for her as it is for me. But it was from there that, again, that's where Alex and I's collaboration really came in. We really wanted to see each other succeed and help each other and learn and grow together. Like Alex mentioned, providing that best client experience has always been at the core of what we do. And so I always wanted my clients to know that if I was on vacation and they couldn't get into me, you can go see Alex, and vice versa. And so anyways, that's just a story that I remember.
That's a very memorable story, like you said, for probably both you and for the woman from New York, right? But, what's so interesting is that the two of you guys came together and have worked together so seamlessly. And at that point in time, you were working for a salon as associates there, but things quickly changed for you, I know. And, well, I don't know if it quickly, but they changed for you over time to where you are today. So give us a little glimpse into your journey of going from working together in that salon, performing your first Brazilian wax, with no training at all, just, learning on the job. I guess that's great on-the-job training, right? And then being able to move forward to create such a really amazing business model that you have been able to transform.
Well, I think I should take just this first portion to kind of give everyone a little back story.
Okay.
Ever since I met Summer, she was always in my ear about waxing. She's like, we should be waxing specialists, waxing specialists. Like, that's all we should do. That's what we should focus on. And so, when we were working on full service spa, I'm like, you're crazy. Like, what are you talking about? Like, we're estheticians. We do facials. We do full body services. And we do waxing, too. And so I just had to take you back a little bit because she kept in my ear nonstop about this waxing thing all the way, through the 4 years that we worked together in Denver. And then we actually went our separate ways for a little while. And I moved to Chicago and she went to a different salon. And we actually left within the same 2 weeks without, like, unbeknownst to either of us. We were going kind of separate ways. And then we ended up coming back together 6 months later.
Well, that 6-month period was very, I think in my journey, it was really important because I was so young at this time. I was in my early 20s, and I left this great salon and went to this other salon where within 6 months I had paychecks bouncing. I was working with a woman who was taking clients off of my books, kind of client thieving. And I just was, that 6 months, I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? And then Alex moved back from Chicago. It was like a shining light. And it's like, we have to work together again. We just worked so well together. I think at the time I didn't know what I didn't know, and I didn't know what a great relationship Alex and I had created working together and with that collaboration. And so I said, you know what, let's do this waxing business. Like, let's just do it. I was 25, Alex was 27. And of course, being in our early to mid 20s, we didn't have a lot of money. And so having a great business idea, got the business partner, we had to go find some money. So I went to my mom. I was having to go to her anyways when my paychecks were bouncing to help me cover my mortgage. So why not for a business? And her background is in accounting and software. And so she's like, okay, well, let's do a what ifs analysis summer. And, in my bright business brain of 25 with no business education, I put, a little spreadsheet together of products that we need and how many clients on average we do per day, napkin math. And I said, here you go. This is what we need, Mom. And so she saw Alex and I together. She had never met Alex either. And so we have to meet Alex. And she saw what a great connection we had. And she brought in another partner, Robin, whose background was operations and marketing. And so we started a waxing studio. And really, we started this waxing studio to provide a better experience for ourselves, for working, and to be able to provide a great client experience around waxing. We started in an interior space with absolutely no signage. And we had, a $500 marketing budget. So we printed as many flyers as we possibly could print with that $500. And we hit the streets and we're just like passing out flyers, come see us and get this waxing service. And I remember answering the phone and we would tell them, okay, so you're going to go into this door. There's a restaurant on your right, and then there's an elevator on your left. You're going to take that elevator. You're going to go up to the second floor. You're going to go down and around the hall. And just when you think that you're lost, keep going, and then you'll find us. I mean, we would answer the phone so many times, and they're like, I'm lost. Have you gotten to those 2 stairs in the hallway yet? No, keep going.
They really had to want to find you, is what you're saying.
We used it for our advantage. It was the best kept secret in Denver.
It's kind of like, the clubs that you go to where you have to have a secret passage, the secret code to get in. But I want to go back, actually, Alex, to something that you said, is that you heard Summer in your ear for the years that you guys worked together about waxing, and then you guys split and went your separate ways. During that time, did you continue to hear that voice in your ear? Is that part of the reason that when she said, hey, let's start this new studio, you were like, I'm in? Or did you have some hesitations about perhaps the risk that you might encounter?
Definitely still hesitation. There was still hesitation there. And I mean, back when we started thinking about this now by this time, it was 2002, like late 2002, and there were no waxing studios. Nobody was specializing in just waxing here in Colorado. the thing that I felt comfort in is that we did see the industry start to specialize overall. So like hair, your hairstylist started to now specialize in just color. And then you went to somebody else for just a cut, and then of course you've always had nail techs, but you started to see some specialization in the industry. So I found comfort in that, but I still thought she was nuts. I was like, I don't know, because nobody else was doing it.
Right.
And it was funny when we started talking more about it and we were talking to local distributors, we would have a distributor tell us, she's like, you guys are crazy. Like, when are you going to start adding facials and makeup and all of this stuff? And I'm like, oh my God, we're not. We're only doing waxing.
It's only waxing. But, you started out with one kind of nondescript location where people had to really find you, and it was a little bit of a mystery, but they came to you, and you grew that business, and it was successful. From there, things kind of took off, right? Tell us a little bit about the next step in the journey, what you guys did in terms of how you handled that success and how you moved forward from there.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I think it comes down to, we never intended to be where we're at today, but at the core, by staying true to who we are, great things have continued to happen. So I think about our first employee that came to us, and we never thought we would have an employee. It was just going to be us two. And it was actually one of Alex's clients. We were a year in, and she said, listen, I'm getting ready to graduate, and with her aesthetics license, it was a second career for her. And she said, I know I want to wax, and I love being a client here. I want to work here. Are you guys hiring? We're like, what? Oh my gosh, And so that started our journey to okay, now we're going to be an employer, and what does that mean to us, and what do we want to stand for, and how do we want this relationship to be? And so so that started the evolution, and then we hired number 2 and number 3. And I remember going to the bank one day and seeing one of the businesses on the garden level was for lease. Not the business, but a space was up for lease. And so it's like, oh my gosh, let's just see how much it is to move to the street side. And so we did, and it actually was affordable for us. And so we moved to the street side, and that was a pivotal moment that it just took off. Because now
you had a sign. You had a sign.
Yeah, we had a sign. Yeah. Wow, amazing what that does for our business, especially a service industry business. And it was 3 months after that we opened our second location, and a year after that our third location. And it was at that time that we decided that kind of think we have something a little bit special here. And so we wanted to see what our business model could do in an unknown market. Because we'd been in the industry and we started with a little bit of a clientele, we wanted to see what would it look like without that. And so we went to Dallas, and within 15 months we were voted top waxing studio in Dallas. And mind you, we were in the heart of Dallas, the beauty mecca, with tons of competition around us. We were the first exclusive waxing studio in the area, but that showed us okay, we have a great experience. We have something really special. And so then we opened up a 5th location, and when we opened up our 5th location, we went back to Denver, and we wanted to open it without us starting it, because we wanted to see, could we make it work just by somebody else? And although it was owned by us, Alex and I have always been integral into the opening of the studios and running day-to-day operations, and so we wanted to be removed from it. And then we were seeing success, so we thought, you know what, we have something special, let's look at franchising. And that's another story, probably for another podcast. But we, along that journey, partnered with Anytime Fitness. And Anytime Fitness is one of the top franchises in the world, and they know franchising really well. We know waxing really well, and so it seemed like a great partnership, and it has been.
So you had, it took some time to get to where you wanted to be, but then it was a very fast road to success, and then this partnership with Anytime Fitness probably really opened up some new doors. And now I think I read there was something like 33 Waxing the City salons or studios in the country. Is that correct?
Over 100.
There's over 100. I must have read an old article, because Over 100. So how many of those, are they all franchises that are, part of the, like, individually franchised by individual owners?
We have 8 corporate studios in Minnesota and then 100 franchises and another one, more opening all the time. I think we have another one opening on Monday.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yep. Definitely some fast growth. What do you think has been the key to the success, right? So this was your idea. You partnered together. It sounds like you've supported each other along the way. You have clearly a passion for it and an interest in continuing to learn and doing, best practices in terms of waxing. But what was it that you think really just catapulted the success to where you are today? Was there one thing that you think, wow, looking back, this is the thing that really took us to the next step?
I don't know. We might have a little different idea on this, but I feel like, the beauty industry itself it's huge. And I think we continued to add value to people's lives. Like, take out the waxing. I think what continues to give us success and what gave us so much success is that we look at it as we take care of people. It's a customer service industry. And yes, we do waxing, but we give an experience that you can't get anyplace else. And I think that value is what that's one of the things that has, just moved us forward and continues to give us success, is just our business model. It's different.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think it comes down to, again, the people. So taking it from the very first employee, we've always said hire character, train skill, and we wanted to find people that believed in the same things that we did. And we're all in this together and for the mission of taking care of people. And it goes for the same for franchising and finding great franchisees that really, they have the character and they have the passion for taking care of people. And so it's passion for the business and people.
Summer, you and I have talked a little bit about the stigma behind waxing or other services, similar to waxing. How have you been able to overcome that stigma? Or have you felt that in your business and had to kind of overcome that in a certain way?
Well, when I told my mom I wanted to go into the beauty industry and get my aesthetics license, she jokingly said, "Oh, Summer, I hope you're not going to be a beauty, don't be a beauty school dropout." She said it jokingly, but was like, seriously, don't be a beauty school dropout. And so I think, a lot of times people look down upon this industry of going into getting a license. It's seen as, well, if you couldn't get into college or if you couldn't do this, then it's something that you do as a backup. And we hear this story a lot when we're talking to potential, new employees, and Sherry, our first employee, being one of those. It was a second career for her because she didn't think she could do it when she first got out of high school. She went to college and she got into finance or hospitality, and then came back to this. So we hear a lot about it being a second career because of that stigma around it. And I guess for myself, I just put that behind. It's like, I'm passionate about it, so I'm just gonna go all in. Like, I can't picture myself doing anything else. And so I've always approached this whole journey in that way, and it's been a lot of hard work, but with that passion, and we found great success to be, in our early 40s and co-founders of this amazing franchise. Only 5% of franchises get to where we're at in the time frame that we've gotten there. So that's huge.
Yeah. And hats off to you guys, because it's, what you've just said and you've described is you've kind of just knocked the door down in terms of a stigma or a potential stigma, and you've just moved ahead with what you wanted to do. And sometimes that's really all it takes for us to achieve our goals, is knowing exactly what we want to do and then just going for it full force. So hats off to you both for doing that. Now, I know that in your current role, so now you've got these franchises and you're part of a partnership with Anytime Fitness. In your current roles that you're in today, you're having to help others to feel that same dedication to knocking down that stigma and to providing value to the clients. How do you do that? How do you take what you have inside of you and give that to somebody else to help them do the same in their success?
I don't know. For me, I think it starts with the leadership. It's sharing our experiences, and it's talking about our culture. It's sharing, the culture that we envision. And it's funny when we are talking to people, they want to share that. They want to be immersed in that. They want to be a part of it. They're drawn to the passion that we usually ooze out anyways. I don't know, we talk a lot to our leaders about growing people. Our business is all about our people. And I don't know, it's just a lot of one-on-one sharing experiences and working with those frontline leadership that's in the studio.
Yeah. I think too, I think about, when we, in a studio environment and interviewing employees or potential employees, one of the common things I would hear sometimes where it was, how busy am I going to be? And my response to that was always, well, these are the things that we're going to provide to you, the tools we're going to provide, the training we're going to provide, all the support we're going to provide you. But ultimately, it comes down to you and how busy you're going to be. And it's the same thing with franchising. It's like, how successful am I going to be when I come into this franchise? It's like, here's the things we're going to support you with and the tools we're going to give you and the training. But at the end of the day, it's you and what you bring to that studio and that culture and that leadership and what's going to drive your success. And so I think just on a day-to-day today, that's what it's moving from bringing employees into the studio to franchisees into the system. And like Alex said, it's just that support.
Yeah. And it sounds like, I've heard a quote about business saying that it's really, business is one conversation at a time. And it sounds like that one-on-one, Alex, you mentioned that one-on-one interactions, just one person at a time, having those conversations and sharing what your thoughts about what you value in terms of the service organization goes a long way.
Yes.
And I'm wondering for the new franchisees or even the ones that you've brought on in the past, have they all been in the same industry, or do you look for something like, is there a particular trait that you say this is the one trait that we find to be most successful in starting this type of franchise? Or you guys are laughing, so I think you have an idea.
It'd be nice if we could put a profile together. And I think, again, it comes down to, like Alex mentioned, it's that leadership in the studio. When we first looked at franchising, one of the things we said was you have to be licensed. And then when we really sat back and we thought about it, we thought, actually, what this industry needs is more people that know how to run a business and how to lead and grow talent. And so you don't have to be licensed to have a Waxing the City, but having some background in that leadership and people development is a great, I don't know, what's the word?
I know what you're trying to say, but I can't.
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Asset to have. And so, again, just having good, strong, quality leaderships and so skills. A lot of our franchisees come from a lot of different backgrounds. So a lot are outside of the beauty industry, but what's nice is they bring some of that expertise from the industry that they were in, and running their Waxing the Cities. So
I think one of the key things that we talk about and we look for is this industry, it's young. So a lot of young women that are coming into this industry, it's, anywhere from 19 to 25. And so again, I know this ties back to leadership, but it's all about sometimes this is their very first job, and so we are looking for someone who truly wants to grow, not only technical skills, but really life skills, and that could be even clocking in every single day, like creating a habit like that. So we're really looking for somebody who's in the studio, hands-on, working with these ladies on a day-to-day.
Yeah. That sounds exciting. And I know that, what you're doing also, what you've been able to accomplish has opened the doors for a lot of other people to be able to fulfill their dreams. So really just great work, and hopefully you continue your dedication to training and developing others so that they can, keep going with their dreams as well. So, any final thoughts that you guys want to share with our listeners today in terms of, if they want to start a franchise or open up a business or have this idea that their friend says, wow, that's crazy. Any other final thoughts that you want to share with our listeners about how they can really bring their own leaderships, to the table in the space that they're at?
I guess just having a passion and a commitment to yourself for the growth. Really, for us, just the industry, we want to continue to break the stigma to the industry, and know this is a great industry to be in. So if anybody's interested in this journey, I think I say go for it, and don't let stigmas hold you back by any means.
I think you need to talk. If you have an idea, put it out there. Talk to somebody, because no matter how crazy you might think it is, it could turn into really awesome things.
Yeah.
Some of the best ideas are those crazy ideas.
Yes.
And it has for the two of you. So congrats again. Thanks for being with us on Ignite. Alex, Summer, we appreciate you being here. In just a moment, we'll be back with just some final thoughts on Ignite.
My name is Dana Morrison. I'm the IT director at Grace Christian School in Raleigh, North Carolina. IT directors often hoard so much knowledge that it's hard for their team members to learn. IT Pro TV has given us the ability to level up our technicians to a point where they can decide, this is important for me to learn. I would recommend IT Pro TV to any IT team. It's just a great tool for any IT professional.
Starting from one small waxing studio to a booming franchise across America, Alex and Summer revealed how investing in their employees has had short-term and long-term payoffs. Their workforce consists of people who align with the company culture and are committed to the cause. Their collaborative approach to building this business empire proves successful as Waxing the City continues to expand across the country. To keep up with the latest episodes, follow Ignite on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. From IT Pro TV and myself, thank you, and we'll see you next time.